In this video, you'll see an onboard hot lap with some basic references and cues to look out for, and then for those looking to broaden their knowledge even further, I'll take you on a complete track walk where we'll discover all the intricacies and nuances of the circuit and car combination, as well as how to extract the most out of your time on the track. On the screen now are some timestamps for if you want to skip to a different part of the video. They are split by each individual corner of the circuit that I'll cover. So without further ado, let's begin with the onboard hot lap video. So here we are at Sardegna Road Track A in my lovely, recently nerfed Lexus. And we're on the medium tyres, as I am with all these lap guides. So coming into turn 1, the orange bit just before the 100 board. Making use of the camber in turn 1, you get a little kick of oversteer to watch out for on the exit. Using all the track available at turn 3, there's loads of track there so you don't scrub off speed. Now looking just after the 50 board, staying tight to the apex of the first turn, using all the track on the second turn, very quick through the second turn. Now we're looking just after the 50 board and we want to be braking, using the trail braking, using the coasting, and you can get on the power quite early. And now this is where your car's power will come into effect, taking the line of least resistance, making this back section as straight a line as possible. Even using the curb on the entry, just be careful you don't touch that wall. Just before the 100 board, braking down, staying in second gear, keeping the car tight, allowing a little bit of room to swing in, cut through that wall. And now staying towards the middle of the track, cutting in, using the curb, a little bit of the grass, braking, coasting, careful of the wall, careful on running wide on the exit, and just on the 100 board we're going to be braking, looking for a late apex so we can get the power down early for this long back straight for Sardegna. Coming into the last turn, obviously using all of the curb and all of the track on the exit to scrub off as little speed as possible. And there's your hot lap of Sardegna A. So Sardegna is quite difficult in the sense that it's not really got many concrete references. You've got to sort of make your own and sort of adapt them, use other references further ahead or behind you to help you. Turn 1 is good in the sense that it's got a good number of references. I would say if you're on the medium tyres, you're going to be using this orange end of the fence. If you're on soft tyres or in quali trim, the 100 board or potentially the black digi-flag, potentially on a quali trim. Coming in, you're going to be using all of the curb, sort of same sort of thing as Nürburgring. Plant the curb part underneath your car, so you've got 2 wheels on the concrete, 2 wheels on the blue. If you want to go further out wide, that's fine, but do beware of the gravel. Then you're going to be missing the curb, because the curbs generally are quite volatile here. If you just use the first angle of the curb that sort of cambers differently to the track, oppositely to the track, then you're going to understeer. If you go further than that and dip a wheel in the grass, you're generally going to oversteer. Look at the camber of this turn. This is absolutely mad, and you're going to want to take note of this, because the further out wide you go, the exponentially slower you're going to be. So you always want to make sure with cambered turns that you're sticking right to the inside, missing the curb but sticking right to the inside. Then the camber sort of levels off here, so you want to be coasting through turn 1 but just waiting that tiny bit longer to get on the power, because if you sort of treat this as there's no camber, you're going to be pushed out wide onto the gravel, and this gravel really does suck you in very hard. Then you don't really need to leave any room for turn 2 and 3 to swing in, swing out, whatever, because they're flat out corners. Miss the curb here, there's no point in taking it, it'll just slow you down. Then use all of the track available, even use this curb here to scrub off as little speed as possible. This 50 board is sort of where we're going to be braking for this one. Just about here. 50 board is going to be a reference. A good reference that you could use is the end of the grandstand, this pole here. That's a good medium tyre reference, I'd say. Potentially you could brake up a little bit earlier, but anyway, this chicane, much like turns, I think it's 6 and 7 at Nürburgring, you got to sacrifice the first corner for the benefit of the second. So you can be obviously missing the curb again, you can be braking in, still braking, but you're only going to be going out about this wide, only about half of the width of the track. You could stay even tighter, as I think I did on my hot lap, which I don't normally do, but I wasn't going to record another one because it was an alright lap. So we're going to use all of the width of the track, missing the curb again here, and you really want to coast through these corners as well. So make sure you've got comfortable with your car and the coasting abilities of your car and your trail braking abilities of the car, because that will really help you in those corners there. This is probably the hardest corner on the track because there's absolutely no way of telling if you've done it right or wrong, other than when you hit the wall or when you don't. So this 50 board is going to be quite useful. Also, these two PlayStation boards, the first PlayStation board after the 50 sign and the second board after the 50 sign, sort of halfway in between those. So out here you're going to want to brake. There's nothing really apart from that you can use. Then this one's a very late apex. You can be trail braking, coasting, and then on the power as soon as you feel confident. There's absolutely no way to tell if you've done it right because it's a blind corner. Up here, taking the line of least resistance, make it as straight as possible. There's no point going in and using all of this to widen out the track, just slows you down. Just before the 100 board here, again, there's no reference apart from the 100 board that you can use, really. I mean, if there's not even anything on the left hand side, I don't think. Potentially on the medium tyres you could use this first tree on the right hand side, or the first tree on the left hand side. First tree on the left hand side just there, or the second tree or the third tree, depending on what tyres you're on. So actually I did lie when I said there's not many references, because there's actually quite a few. Here you're going to want to stay in sort of a higher gear, because this is quite a volatile corner because it is slightly negatively cambered. So the inside the corner is a little bit higher than the outside, but then it starts to go downhill right on the corner exit. So this is where the oversteer is going to kick in. So you've got to be very, very, very careful on the power, not going out all the way wide, just about here, because you want to be able to swing in for this corner and use as much track as possible here. Now this is one of the harder sections as well. I've seen a lot of people just stay to the outside. That's quite slow. You definitely want to be cutting through the middle here and then going to the outside. By the end of this sort of red and white Tech Pro barrier, you should have the car straightened up. This lovely little back of the sign here is going to be a good turning reference point. So you're going to start turning in there. You do want to use the curb, possibly the grass, and then you're just going to be braking, going down a gear, coasting, and then careful on the power. And your reference point for that is sort of the beginning of this blue, I don't know what this is, barrier. It's a type of barrier, but that's going to be your braking point for this one. So you want to be very, very tentative on the steering, as close as you can get but not touching the wall, because that's quite bad. and making sure you're only using the curb and not the grass. This final corner is quite easy on the 100 board, but you're going to brake at that might seem a little bit late, but it's because you need to go a little bit deep, turn in later, so you get a straighter line on exit, because again, this is quite a oversteer heavy corner potentially, and this is probably the most important corner on the circuit in the race and in qualifying, because this is the corner that leads onto the longest straight, so you have to prioritize the exit rather than the entry. So don't brake as late as you can, accelerate as early as you can. So you're going to be sort of accelerating in a straight line like that. Perfect job. And then coming into this last corner, obviously out, in, out. We all know this. But then you can use a little bit of the track on the exit as well, just to scrub off as little speed as you can. So there you go, that's your lap guide and your hot lap of Sardegna A. Have fun! If you found this video useful, then make sure to check out our other driving school lap guides. And if you want to become part of the action, don't forget to join the Discord server by visiting the link below.